2023. I will now call to order the special meeting agenda, Wednesday, August 16th. Jason?
Here.
Steve is not here, but he will be here shortly. Alex Turner here. Is Chairman Carrigan is...
Point of order that it's being recorded.
Yes, thank you. For those of you both here in the room and on Zoom, this meeting is being recorded. As Chairman Carrigan is running late, we expect this to be a short meeting, so we're going to recess for a few minutes to allow him to participate. So please stay with us and stay in the room.
I move that we recess for
Back
10
to you.
minutes, resuming at 5:45 p.m.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. It's unanimous. We'll see you back at 5:45. I'd like to re-enter our meeting. We're waiting for Chairman Carrigan, but my suggestion would be that we do take care of some of the basic items, such as closing the town meeting, which is number 1. Is that something? Excuse me? The warrant? Close special town meeting warrant, yeah. Yes, not the town meeting itself.
Do we need to wait for Steve to do that?
Policy decision, something else.
Let me call Steve real quick and see how close he is.
Okay.
Hopefully he's walking up.
There's things that
I move to pause the meeting for another 5 minutes, reconvening at 5:51 p.m.
Alrighty, I will second that. All those in favor, Jason?
Aye.
Alex, aye. We will recess once again until 5:51 and then begin.
We have the special town meeting warrant, which you all have seen, and we have a responsibility to close that warrant. At this point, the special town meeting is scheduled for September 18th, 2023. Is there a motion to close the warrant?
I'll offer a motion to close the warrant.
Is there a second?
I second the motion to close the special town meeting warrant scheduled on September 18th, 2023.
Any discussion? Hearing
No.
none. All those in favor? Oh, sorry.
No,
You said no, I thought.
I'm sorry. Sorry, I said no, but I meant yes. What I think it just may be happening is, yes, we have seen it, other people haven't, and it's a relatively short and somewhat confusing for some people. People have begun to talk about things. So there's more on this town meeting than just the school board.
Yes.
So I think it's...
Yeah.
Do we want to talk about Article 2, the DPW, and the other things, or do you want to...
So I think we did discuss them at the previous meeting, and then folks will receive this.
Are we mailing this out?
Yes. Aren't we? Are we mailing it out? If we're able to get it.
Talk to you all about that.
If we're able to get it done, then yes.
So do
Yeah.
you mind if we just do a quick 2-second recap that one is for both...
So the motion is to close the warrant. Do you want to discuss that, or do you want to just, I'm glad to recap it after we close it, but unless
I
there's
just
any.
didn't want it to be a moot point after that. No, it's fine.
Do you
We'll close it.
intend to move to strike any part of it?
No, I
Okay.
don't.
Well, then let's just do all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Would you like to review some of the items on the town meeting?
Yeah, just because people have had questions and it's hard to believe summer's almost over. I think it's what, 6 weeks to this?
So to clarify for
Election?
folks, Article 1
5 weeks.
on the special town meeting warrant for September 18th is the Neshoba Regional High School new building proposal, where there'll be a presentation and we will vote on the new high school building project. Article 2
Before we
is
get to that,
let me-
sorry, before you get to Article 1.
I'm going to get to that. I'm going to get to that after I go through the articles. That's not on the town meeting warrant. You want us to clarify the
No, I
town
was just
meeting
going to
warrant.
ask T.A. Hodges, okay, go.
Great. Article 2 is to amend the Water Enterprise Fund, which is adjustments to what we voted on May 3rd, 2023. Is there any further explanation to that, Kate, that's necessary?
No, other than the DPW commissioners will be there to explain or answer questions.
Thank you. Article 3 is the supplemental classification plan for emergency services, as we discussed at the last select board meeting. Because the fire department has come out of a union, we have to add them into our class and comp system, and this does that. And Article 4 is sponsored by the planning board, and it has to do with accessory apartments that they are proposing, and that concludes the special town meeting warrant. Then the week later, we have an election, and there'll be a ballot question, which is listed here, ballot question related to Article 1, the school building project. And that ballot question reads, shall the town of Lancaster be allowed to exempt from the provisions of Proposition 2.5, so-called, the amounts required to pay Lancaster's allocable share of the bond issued by the Neshoba Regional School District for the purpose of paying costs of a new Neshoba Regional High School, 12 Green Road, Bolton, Massachusetts, 01740, including site work and athletic fields, including the payment of all costs incidental or related thereto. So that will be on the ballot on Monday, September 25th. All right. Any other questions about the special town meeting or the ballot?
Yep, I believe the superintendent is coming to speak to us.
Yes.
At our next meeting, correct?
And at the special town meeting?
Yes. Yes.
September 5th.
It's just to help us clear some of these up. And for those who were confused, somebody referring to this as an override, it's a debt exclusion, meaning it has a finite time, I think 30 years, correct?
Did you say 30 years?
I believe.
Did
Well,
they determine that yet?
yeah, they haven't determined that
yet.
yet.
So that's what we don't want to, that's why it's very important we wait for the presentations,
No.
because
I was
that's how
asking-
misinformation gets out there.
It wasn't that,
Yeah.
we were asking questions based on
Yes.
previous presentation, the superintendent thinks we heard it, so I wanted to clarify.
Yes. Okay. So now we can discuss and vote to accept or reject the ballot question that I just read out loud for the September 25th, 2023 special election. Is there any discussion on the ballot question itself as it is phrased? I don't believe, do we have much leeway in the language? Exactly. So we cannot amend. We can either accept or reject the
Well,
ballot
I
question.
don't even
I know, we really can't reject
have
it.
to accept. I would add, there is an appendix that I was looking to do, which was kind of aggregating the information that the school committee put out there. And I had passed that around, including talked about it at the finance committee. Unfortunately, today we got word back from the school committee and the Office of Campaign Finance that we can't do that. I had suspected that we can't, but I know that some folks were saying that they wish that the town would put out more information, etc. So I tried to not put out any town information, but just make a one-pager that could be slid into the warrant and mailed, just regurgitating everything, including the project costs, the financing options, in here, the average residential assessment and the potential cost increases for daily. We are not able to include that. The council for the state has said no, that would be up to the district. So it's something that we can talk about at a meeting. I can put it into the select board packets as I've done the memos, but it can't be distributed from us.
So, in essence, we're at the part of our agenda where we can vote to accept the language for the ballot question for the special town meeting election ballot for September 25th, 2023. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
He had his hand up.
Yeah, more of a little bit of a monologue.
Oh, perfect.
No, you know, my words, you know, we as a town just went through the 2.5 override, and that was a big deal, and that's for running the town. This is not for running the town. All of this is for whether or not the school district will borrow or be approved to borrow money to build a new school. My words, it's outside of the purview of the select board. We have a duly elected school committee. across the 3 towns for a regional school district agreement. That's fantastic. And I would encourage every resident to reach out when this question comes up. It's a very personal question for every resident to answer. So please get the information you need. There's no yes or no, right or wrong type. I mean, I guess there's a yes or no, but there's no right or wrong answer to it.
It's a yes or no.
So what, you're not going to see, I don't think you're going to see signs in yards, right? So this is part of the communication we're going to have out from residents. Please get informed. Please make sure that you participate and understand the implications of voting yes or no. So thank you.
Okay, sounds good. Do you have any questions
I do.
prior to voting for this?
Not a
ballot?
monologue, but a question.
That's fine.
We have, with, for example, the override, put out as a pro and a con, as was the ballot, and our recommendations and the Finance Committee recommendations. I understand from what you said, the details are being consolidated and mailed by the school committee?
I don't know that. I
It just
only,
can't be sent by us.
the piece of paper that I just gave you was something that I thought might meet the criteria for the state to say that it was all right. And because we didn't write it, other than the QR codes to the links. But their unofficial determination on now, I think that the school committee was disappointed with that, so they'll be reaching back out. But as far as the warrant,
But
it can't go in, you've closed it, this is the document that you're accepting, so. But if somehow some other council says that that is agreeable per the district agreement, we can certainly do whatever you want with
You
that.
can make it available.
Make it available. If not, I would imagine the district will have plenty that they'll be circulating.
Yes.
Do you know what the objection that they had to this, was it advocating for a ballot question which is illegal? Is that why, or was it?
Well, I don't want to misquote, so let me just read you the email that, it came in at 5:15, so.
Thank you for catching.
It said to reference the OCPF IB 9101 interpretive bulletin.
Which OCPF is the Office of Campaign and Political Finance.
Now, bonus points if you get the statute, know what that is.
Specifically, Section 2, which is the distribution of information relating to ballot questions, which focuses on Section 18B. This is from Bridget Hanahan at the district, who says, I was able to speak with someone at the Secretary of the Commonwealth's Elections Division, and after explaining the situation, they directed me against having any supplementary information added to the warrant or otherwise, and cautioned that it would likely lead to an issue with the OCPF, et cetera, et cetera. And then there was,
Okay. So,
thank you for trying to
all right.
put something forward.
Okay.
So that addresses that.
Yeah, so,
All right, so there is a question before the board to approve the ballot question as written and as read for the special town election ballot for September the 25th, 2023.
So moved.
sorry, I just got an email that came through.
People can't hear us, I'm still getting from different people.
Yep.
There's a motion.
I know.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion of the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. The ballot question is approved.
Wait, hold on,
I am holding on.
I'm concerned that it will negate the vote if you can't
Yep.
hear it.
Exactly.
And then we're out of time.
We are in a meeting with local participation. Everyone's
Yeah.
allowed to come.
Yeah, but if people can't hear in one of the
It was called.
For
venues.
Zoom?
Yeah.
I don't think that's required by law to
I
be
mean,
able to
it's so-
provide Zoom.
Yeah.
Let's just try to troubleshoot.
We can try to
Are we
troubleshoot.
saying we
We
can't
are-
hear?
I just had I've had 5
But who?
emails. I don't know, ask Roy
Well, you
Rezac,
just
he's
had
got
them.
his
You
head up.
just had them on
I
your phone,
said-
so who are they?
People who are on the list.
I know,
Oh.
but
Ask Roy Rezac,
Can-
he's got his head up, hand up.
we're not, we don't have.
Dick Trussell just
Everett
emailed
Moody, can
me.
you hear?
And what did he
So
say?
I'm in the meeting. I can go ahead and.
We can't hear you at all.
How could you hear the question?
Okay, check,
I
check.
don't think they did.
I just asked, can you hear me? And they said they can't hear you.
No, I just think that was.
We haven't been able to hear you from day one.
All right, I can mute.
Well, day one is.
I don't,
Okay.
sure.
If you can you mute this?
So that's me. This is me trying to troubleshoot. So let's take a moment here and just wait while I pause.
We're trying to troubleshoot.
If they can't hear us yelling, it doesn't do anything.
So what do you want me to write? Sorry.
No.
Did you just unmute me?
Here, so hold up. I don't know.
I
Check,
think
check.
I have to go through that over again.
I think so too.
That's coming through. So my computer can hear all of it.
I would suggest for those in
And
the
it's not
Zoom.
coming
See,
through,
let's get this settled and then
right?
we'll take
So
suggestions.
when I mute the owl, nothing's coming through on my computer. I will unmute the owl, and it's coming through on my computer. So for my connection, it's working.
Could you maybe just ask Everett?
Sure. Mr. Chair.
Everett Moody, can you hear us?
Can you and could you?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm thinking he can't, so let me.
Well, that's an indication.
Oh, volume fine on the town hall streams according to Jan from the item.
Oh, well, that's nice.
Yeah.
So,
It still doesn't give us.
well, if it's fine on the town hall streams, then it counts.
I don't.
There's multiple ways that.
We can retake the votes, it's simple.
Can you hear us, Lydia?
For the last 30 seconds, I'm beginning to be able to hear you.
Thank you, Roy.
Is that because you had your thing on? Do you want me to just unmute mine and just push it forward? My
I
computer?
don't know.
No, I wouldn't do that.
Feedback.
Everything is working from this end.
Can people hear us now?
Why don't you ask Everett again? That's.
I could hear your question.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I got it.
Roy, can you hear me okay?
Gotcha.
Yes, Jason.
Okay.
All right, we're good to go.
Mr. Trussell, can you hear? We'll just check one or two more people on there. Jan can hear.
Dick Trussell, he can hear, she can hear over Zoom, over the air.
Everett, can you hear us okay?
Maybe Dick would be
I
better.
can hear you.
Oh, perfect, okay. All right, we have done a few votes we are going to retake, just to make sure. First, to close the special town meeting warrant scheduled for September 18th, 2023.
Second,
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
just to restate the discussion that we had on that, was just we went through the warrant, which will be on town, on the.
Yes, as it always is.
As it always is, and just wanted to remind people that it wasn't just the school vote, there were other items too that people should attend town meeting for.
Right. So we're in the middle of
Yeah, we were in the discussion portion.
well, anyway,
Okay.
yes? You're voting yes?
Yes.
Terrific. Next is to discuss and vote for the ballot question, which I read, which I'm glad to read again, if the board thinks necessary for the special town election ballot for September 25th. The question reads, shall the town of Lancaster be allowed to exempt from the provisions of Proposition 2.5, so-called the amounts required to pay Lancaster's allocable share of the bond issued by the Neshoba Regional School District for the purpose of paying costs of a new Neshoba Regional High School, 12 Green Road, Bolton, Massachusetts, 01740, including site work and athletic fields, including the payment of all costs incidental and related thereto.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
May I just,
We've already, yeah, go ahead.
we have, but some people didn't
Go ahead.
hear it, so just the recap was that this is a debt exclusion and that the superintendent will be here at our next meeting
Yes.
to discuss the terms and
Yes.
other pertinent questions.
All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay. Now, it seems we have, what is item 3? Discuss and vote to include special town, the special town meeting ballot question. Well,
The question that you read before
Is for
for
the
the
ballot.
warrant town meeting, but it's actually, yeah.
no, for the ballot, yeah. Why do we have to,
So they're just two separate, so you
Oh, got it.
you
Copy that.
accepted the language and now you're voting to print it on the ballot.
copy that, okay. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion of printing that word, those words on the ballot?
No. And
Good.
can,
Well, you said no.
know about the language.
Well, that's what this is questions on.
Is this the time to discuss whether we are mailing
No.
this whole warrant or not?
No, no, we'll discuss that after, because we're in the middle of a motion about whether or not we're gonna print
About
this
the
language.
ballot, yeah.
Print the ballot,
And,
so,
yeah.
all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye, okay. Now, we did a vote to waive mail-in voting, but we will redo that.
Wasn't a vote.
No, we did not vote.
Oh, we did not,
are
oh, no, that's
we're not
right.
able-
We are not
we-
waiving that because
We're not waiving
we're
it.
waiving the waive, got it, copy
We are
that.
actually offering
Got it.
mail-in voting.
Yep. All right. Next item is, which you all did not take up while I was not here, yes?
Correct.
Okay. Vote to allow early voting for the special town election called for September 25th, 2023, during the following hours. Tuesday, September 19th, 2023 to Thursday, September 21st, 2023, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. Friday, September 22nd, 2023, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 1 p.m. All early voting will take place at the Prescott Building, first floor, 701 Main Street, Lancaster, Massachusetts.
So moved.
Second,
Any discussion on early voting?
when they say first floor, that is the main floor that the town clerk's office is on.
Correct.
As opposed to the one most people walk in and think of.
Correct.
No, that's great that we are, thank you to our clerks for doing that.
Great. Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, 300. All right, before we turn to new business, do we want to discuss the printing of the warrant?
Yeah, so there, we are able to print the warrant and mail it. They would get to printing it and hopefully by a week's time would be mailing it. We have 2 zip codes, so it's not inexpensive. It would be about $4,500. My professional opinion is that it's important. I think
Yes.
people should know that it's happening.
Yes.
We did not budget for it in the town meeting mailing, which we did. We budgeted $6,000, but that's for annual. So we would likely have to take it from another line item within the elections, which may mean that we either go for a line item transfer at the end of the year, or we forego something else that we had proposed printing, like budget books, etc. And we do that in-house.
I agree with you. I think it's really important that we get this out to folks. And $4,500 is a lot of money, but it's a really important, critical issue that the residents are facing. And I would be in favor of moving forward. Do you feel you need a vote from us to do that?
I guess I would feel more comfortable as it's not, we didn't budget it in those line items.
Make the motion to approve the printing and mailing of the ballot for the upcoming special town meeting.
Second.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Okay.
Thank you.
Other items under new business, discuss and vote to permit the town administrator to negotiate payment for services up to a certain amount for unscheduled services rendered on town property.
I move to approve the town administrator to negotiate payment for services up to a certain amount for unscheduled services rendered on town property.
I just need to know up to.
Up to.
Fill in up to amount.
Up to $5,000. 5,300?
Nope.
$3,000. $3,000.
Thank you.
I'll second it for discussion purposes.
Okay. Now, is there any discussion?
Yes.
Hit it.
So, a couple of things. I believe we still have what's called a reserve fund that allows for unanticipated expenses to be approved with a majority vote of the, well, it used to be the Board of Selectmen and the FinCom. I don't know what it is now. I don't know how that has changed over this last year or so. Is that not available still?
It is, but this does not fall into the category that would be an allowable use for that fund.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, I guess I probably confused, because I know when I saw this agenda come up, I asked for what the policy would be or something like that.
Right, this isn't a policy, it's to to negotiate payment for services for a specific unscheduled service that was rendered on town property. So it's not a policy, it is a purpose.
So this is a one-time?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, I thought it was,
We can amend
Ongoing.
We can amend the motion if we
No,
want.
it's at the request of council, so we can submit paperwork that's consistent with procurement and.
okay. So this, okay, so we should, I guess, amend that to say something. But the reserve fund, sometimes there was things in the past when we used to do it. It was like whatever, a giant pothole came up or something that
Sure.
wasn't done. And they had to do it right away because it was emergency road repair. Would that not be able to come out of?
No, that would,
Sure.
because it's truly unforeseen.
The pothole.
Yeah,
So there's
This
a,
purpose was not.
this was not an unforeseen. So,
Okay.
so the situation with those is that it's akin to an emergency procurement.
okay.
If it's less than the threshold, that's fine. If it's more than the threshold, you can petition to the AG for an emergency procurement, say a giant sinkhole opened up, a bridge collapsed, something, and you get it fixed, and then you do all the procurement paperwork on the back end. But that isn't the case here.
Okay.
I do get your point though on the one time, so if there's an appropriate amendment.
Yeah, because I read this
No, I hear
wrong
you.
incorrectly. I'm
Yep.
totally confused. So,
No, makes sense.
I would vote to amend the original motion to add for a one-time use with funding not to include, what was it, 3,200 or
3,000.
3,000 for a one-time procurement not to exceed $3,000 or payment.
I copied it right from
No, I know.
what, so that's fine, I can pass
I
it
will
back.
be seconding an amendment to the motion.
Okay, so I will, but I just want to make sure we have it right. Because I want to be consistent with what council suggested. And I should have pushed back on them on the one-time piece, but discuss and vote to permit the town administrator to negotiate payment for services up to a certain amount for unscheduled services rendered on town property.
If the concern
Use of
is that it would
services.
not be a one-time, this is written such that it would be for this particular reason. This reason shouldn't arise.
No, I understand that, but it looks to me, if you read it, and the people, especially where it says services, and it sounds like, future tense, and unscheduled services, it sounds like it's an ongoing in perpetuity. So, so I would be more comfortable with the amendment. I understand Jason isn't, so.
Just trying to figure out where to.
Yeah, so my
put the
discussion is
amendment.
really straightforward. I respect everyone on this board, but I'm not going to go against recommendations of council. I just don't think,
yeah.
I'm not paid to have that expertise.
I hear you. I don't believe the idea is to go against the recommendation of council, it's just try to clarify something, so.
There was a caveat at the
Councilor
end.
Schumann,
That's what I'm
really
thinking.
is-
So I was thinking at the
Yeah.
end, if there's a caveat that just says,
In recognition of one time.
yes, in recognition of one-time special circumstances or something like that.
Well, that's what the amendment was, right?
That's what we're saying. To make that the amendment
I
at
thought
the
the
end of
amendment
this.
was for one time not to exceed.
I was just trying to find a way to put the language in an artful way in the amendment. So
Okay.
I would just say this, up to $3,000 in recognition of, what did we just say? Of a one-time special circumstance.
Special circumstance.
So that's up to 3,000 in recognition of a one-time special circumstance.
Okay, I thought that was the amendment, so moved
That-
again.
so
I
that
mean,
is-
I
that is
made
your
the
amendment.
amendment,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
I honestly thought that's what it was.
Yep, no, that's good. So that's the amendment. You moved it, I seconded the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Nay.
Okay. All right, now we have an amended motion, which reads, to allow the town administrator to negotiate services, payment for services up to $3,000 for unscheduled services rendered on town property in recognition of one-time special circumstance.
Not to exceed $3,000.
I said that already.
Okay.
Sorry. Yep. Up to, I said up to, sorry, not to exceed. I said up to.
Okay.
Yep. So that is the amended motion. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I will second that. Is there any discussion on the amended motion?
Yeah, I'm just in the camp. Look, I'm going to vote against it, not because of any other reason, that I'm just concerned that we're trying to outsmart council.
I don't think we're trying to outsmart council, but I appreciate your concern.
Yeah,
You're
I
allowed to
mean,
have it.
all I can see is that, it's going to come back and we, did something not legal easy.
So,
That's all.
Yeah, I mean, I feel comfortable with the amendment. Obviously, I voted for it. And I think it gives Kate the tools she needs to accomplish what we need her to accomplish and the sum and substance of what this is hoping to
And
accomplish.
if
Are you satisfied with the motion?
Yep.
and if it doesn't, then I'm assuming that you could return, if council was uncomfortable with it, you could return to us at our next meeting and amend that or change it. We could retract.
I was just worried if it was jammed in the middle.
Totally.
If what council said and then you have a caveat at the end.
Yep.
All right, I'm back on.
Oh, he's back on. He's back, baby. All right.
And the other thing is, we get paid to make these tough decisions, council.
don't
Paid the
get
big
paid.
bucks, yes, I know,
Okay.
facetiously.
All those in
but
favor
council's
of
not always
the
right.
amended motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, okay. All right, designated fund or funding mechanism for payment of work for services rendered in the referred to
Do we want to get that motion right first time?
one-time instance.
Allow for a motion to designate a fund or funding mechanism for payment of work for services rendered.
Do you have a
And-
recommendation of the funding source?
No.
Well,
I think
maybe
we have
that was
to
my
have
next
a
question.
discussion about it. So
What are the funding sources?
my question for the board is, we can take it from ARPA, we can take it from a like item from another department, but my understanding is that that was the total amount needed for a project at another location.
Hold on, let me just finish.
I know where I want to take it from.
I gotcha.
We can take it from training and equipment. We can take it from probably a variation of a couple of, a capital article and some money from historical commission. Those would be the places that I can find.
So my suggestion would be ARPA money, but I don't know where you would.
I want to take it out of printing.
At a printing.
Printing, what did every
Just-
department had $1,500 in printing.
We just approved.
We just approved
for-
$4,500,
for
it
printing.
wasn't budgeted.
For printing, you're taking money from the.
Look, we're going to make this
All
work.
right, so we're not gonna do that. So, I think we got a clear 2-1 on the taking it out of printing. That's a no on that
I hate being outvoted.
one. I know.
It's rare, Jason. Welcome to my world.
You'll be okay.
Can we take, does the select board have anything to give up?
ARPA money.
Well,
That's town money. I mean, select board budget.
so there's money in the select board budget for training, and the select board budget also houses the historical commission, disability committee, board of health, and a couple of others. I think there's a way to perhaps do this in a piecemeal way.
So may I ask why it's reserve fund that we speak of? Is that available in this case? Because it is, I know we talked about
Yeah.
unforeseen, but this is
Right, so
unforeseen in some ways.
I don't believe so, but if you want me to push that, I can. But I don't believe so, because usually those are for natural disasters are truly unforeseen, not,
Well, for example, we used to use it when the animal control officer had too many puppies one month. They had to take care
That
of.
is unforeseen.
Right, it's unforeseen. Well, this was unforeseen and,
Well,
So, I mean, it wasn't natural disaster, so puppies
No.
it was, but, so I don't know, can you look into that?
I can, that one would have to go also in front of the finance committee. So that has to be a dual vote. Just so everybody knows. But I'm-
so let me ask you a question. If there are resources in the select board's budget
I believe there can be.
to piecemeal this together,
Yep.
and something were to occur down the road,
Unforeseen.
unforeseen, we could tap into ARPA money to backfill if we needed to.
That's correct.
Okay, then, yes, sir,
So I think what you're saying is we take it from the select board bucket and we're done.
yes.
That's,
Yep.
that's good enough.
Is there a motion?
I move to utilize the select board, I move to
Move to use the
That's
select board
made.
appropriation.
I move to use the select board appropriation as a funding mechanism for payment of work for services rendered.
That sounds right.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Oh, I should have said if you wanted to vote no, you can too.
I
Okay,
will still get an answer to the question.
Yes.
Because it's
yeah, that's a good question to get an answer
a
to.
question to have an answer to.
Indeed. Fantastic. Okay.
But-
Oh, he raised his hand. Sorry, go ahead.
I have one new business, when the time's right.
And I do too, so
Okay.
you can let him
All
go.
right, go ahead.
So friendly reminder about the TA performance review. Steve, you're good. Alex, I'm still waiting on yours.
Awesome.
Yep,
Check.
Okay, that was it?
Is it? You have one?
yes, when is our next meeting?
It is September
Yeah.
5th.
Okay, so,
It's a Tuesday.
shameless.
Because of the holiday.
Okay, so two things. One is, well, they're both, I think, good. As you know, I was unanimously appointed to the Freight Study Committee.
And
And
you were doing a fantastic job
go to
of it.
rue the day.
You're doing a fantastic job.
At our last meeting, we mentioned discussing at this meeting, and I neglected to, when I saw the agenda, I neglected to notice that it was not on there. We need to have, I wanted to tell you about my comments after reading it and collecting comments that I could. Just that we had been included at the suggestion of the broader community to study the impacts of freight and trucking, primarily Lunenburg and Shirley's impact to our interchange at Route 2 and so on. For some reason, it covers Lancaster and the maps in sort of spotty ways. For example, the new 117-70 interchange is covered. Half of the rotary is covered up in North Lancaster, half of it isn't. It's very strange. So I would ask that the board's comment be to include all of the major commuter and feeder roads around our commercial area. The reason I think that's important is because this is going to enable us to get funding for traffic studies and other things that we may need as we are developing, because they will be allocating the funds accordingly. I have some specific locations in mind that I can send to you, but that's the general, that I wanted to get the board's approval on the general consensus that we ask the freight study to expand our maps to include the major routes and maybe even some of the feeder routes. I mean, I won't go as far, Brockman Road's not on there.
I mean, I'd love to see
Some of
what the
Main Street.
proposal is to expand them to.
Well, it is, we talked about that last time, but
But I'd love to see
the problem is that we did talk about that, and that was those maps that they had sent us, and
Yeah.
everything. But I just have to give them, we're 3 days over the deadline. So they
about
said
whether
they
or not
were
we
going
want to expand the roads
Yep.
in which we, okay.
So if the board is comfortable with that, certainly I will show, when I see the expansion, if we do that and they agree to do it, I'll certainly bring that to the board.
I'm fine with that. Is it appropriate to take a vote at this time? Or,
I haven't done any of my homework on this, so I'm being a good listener right now, but I wouldn't be ready to vote on anything.
So we don't have to offer any comments, but then it will stay, it's a passive decision. It will not include those, so.
if I need homework, I want to be informed, I want to do my homework and then come back with an informed decision. I don't have that today, so I'm not comfortable kind of just,
All right, so we will not, I guess, expand
I'm
that.
just one vote. If
I know,
you all want
I
to
know.
go forward without me, I fully respect it.
I mean, it would be great if we could have, what I was looking for is suggested comments, written suggested comments to review. I know we discussed it before, but if we're going to submit written suggested comments on behalf of the town, we should at least see them in advance, if that's possible. Do we think maybe we can beg forgiveness and review them prior to our September 5th
I was
meeting?
really good about begging last time.
Well,
And
we'll
they
see.
pushed it, and they pushed it out. He went out to all the towns and said, Lancaster needs a little more time until this meeting. So, I can ask again, but I will tell you they have to, because there's a lot of
And if they have to,
grant
they have to.
dollars, there's a lot of grant
Yeah.
dollars that they want.
If they have to, they have to, and then we can make the correction the next, but.
Well,
if we-
no, this is for the next, this sets the scope for all the grants for the next 4 years.
Yep.
So,
I mean, we don't have written comments that are suggested to be submitted. Did
Is
you?
there a map I could share?
it's the map that you initially sent to me.
Okay.
If you want to send, it was in our packet. Or I think it, no, you handed it to me.
But do you
right?
have the comments that you would suggest we endorse written anywhere? I don't,
So I would
I would just need a
add,
map, but
I
I
would,
don't,
in written comments,
because I'm assuming we'd have to send written comments,
We
right?
could probably go through them now, if that's feasible, if you have recommendations, Alex.
I can add some of the roads I was thinking of, but I will, is it permissible to email those to Kate and Steve and you? Yes, we're in a public meeting, I can do
Yes.
that, right?
Yes, you can.
And then what, we come back and deliberate on them?
I mean, she's saying if we don't do it today, then we miss this opportunity.
Well, possibly, I'll try to beg forgiveness again, but I don't know how much latitude I'll have since everybody's eager to get those grant dollars themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not trying to be an obstructionist, I don't know what I'm voting on. I wanna
Well,
make
no, I
sure-
understand that, and I jumped into this, I got this really late in the game too, so,
I think.
we'll catch up, it's a 4-year thing.
I think I found it. If you just,
Kate may have found them out.
well, I mean, this is the map that I
Is this
put
what
in the
you're talking
packet. Is this right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And I actually, hold on one.
Do you need me to enlarge it? I mean, I
No,
feel like
just
some of
one
it
sec. I
will
had
go
written
away.
stuff down and I'll try to,
Make it bigger.
So it talks about what roads are looked at and also what they call classification counts, which is actually sort of traffic counts by weight and size of the freight vehicle.
And is it just in the scope of this map, that part of Lancaster?
Yes, but we can talk about enlarging that. Hold on, I'm sorry, I've
While
got,
she's looking for that, Mr. Chair, one of the
Yes.
things that the planning director and I asked for is to get the entirety of 70 down to the intersection with 117,
Included?
and they did
Yes.
agree to do that.
Oh, good, okay.
It just, this is the draft map, so that would be on the ending map.
So it's still not
But
yet.
we didn't ask, and we asked for, I'm sorry, the intersection with 110 and 117 over by the school.
Yeah.
And then we asked for, I do not think we asked for the other half of the traffic circle. I don't think we realized it was only half.
Where is that? So that, where is the other half of the traffic circle that's not included? You point with the-
when you pull in, so it looks,
Right, exit 103, it's right there, Fort Pond Road.
Yeah. So you see it goes this way, it doesn't go this way or this way.
But it will go this way now, Alex, because that's what we asked for.
But isn't,
Yeah, but I think we need to put it back in the.
but that's
comments. I
Route
don't think it
70's
can-
over exit 103. there.
Yes, I'm sorry,
Okay.
yes, yep,
So
that's
that
what we
will
asked
go all the
for.
way.
Yeah.
Well, we asked, but it didn't get formalized into the comments, I don't think, at least I missed it, it may have been, but it bears repeating, because
Yep.
it's a great idea. So Old Union Turnpike
Which
2,
hugs along the southern side of Route 2,
yes, south of Route 2, because it's on the north of Route 2 is in.
is Fort Bond Road.
Yes.
Yep.
But Old Union Turnpike was not included.
It's the light blue or gray line
Yes,
that
right
goes
here.
right below Route 2. Yep.
Right, but that's not included, and obviously that's going to be a feeder road with trucks potentially going this way, or this way, and this way. So you would think if you were doing this
A
side,
feeder road to what?
the exit and entrances onto Route 2, or at least that's
Oh,
what
but
we
it looks
talked
like
about.
it's, the
This
exit
is-
ramp is included, that piece,
No,
right?
this is not included. Put it this way, it's better to ask and not.
No, I know, it just looked, to me, it looked like it was included.
I think it is, because it's blue.
It's blue, yeah.
So
This piece here,
the way I
looks like
read it,
it's,
So they said that's both sides of the road.
this is here.
so the way I read it, and I think it's better to ask and, you know.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Was Old Union Turnpike, south of Route 2, from Shirley Road exit entrance to Mechanic Street and Harvard Street, which is
Down here.
down here,
Yeah.
right? And it will likely, I think we can all agree that this is
That's fine.
likely going to have freight traffic on it. And I would like to add 117 east to Severn Bridge.
It's way down here. It's not on the map. It's not on the map.
Well, yes, but in the
It's not
focus.
scrolling. It's not even included on the map.
They did add that.
Yeah.
To add, but they went 117 between our interchange, but it didn't go east, because a lot of 117 traffic goes from that interchange, the new.
What interchange?
The new lights
Yeah.
towards Bolton.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna stop at that well, that's where we asked it to stop at that intersection.
Yeah, and it just seems like because we
We wanted to go
have.
further.
You
Yeah, I
want to
would
go
say,
all the way down to
I
190?
think, no, I think it should go to like towards Bolton, or the Bolton line.
I thought you were saying.
But we're stopping at the intersection. We
Right.
didn't take it like through the residential.
Right.
We just stopped at what that intersection was.
Right,
So if
because-
you want it more, that is a different ask.
And I would like to add what they call classification counts, or essentially truck counts and other kind of stuff to rotary, all the rotary exits and entrances. That seems to make sense to me. You know the rotary?
I know what a road, yeah. Which road are you talking
So,
about? The one that's
Right here.
do we have?
103.
I think we only have one,
Lunenburg
right?
Road.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
well,
think-
there's this.
There's one there.
Yeah.
By Shirley Road on the other
I
side.
think
of
the only one
Sunset.
that, the only one that we have that I know of.
Well, there's one there, by 105, but the one you're talking about is the one by the soccer fields, by 103, right?
Yep,
Where
I don't
the-
think we have a rotary at exit
There's-
105.
It's right there on the picture.
I know I see the symbol,
Yeah.
but I don't think it exists.
So what's your point about the rotary?
I just think that the classification count, other towns have picked places with,
Just,
that
yeah,
they
just
want
finish the sentence,
classification
classification count, what?
to all points, to all entrance and exits on the rotary. Makes sense, right?
This is why, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but this is why getting that stuff in writing would have been very helpful, so we can look at it. Because now I feel like we've jumped around a little bit. But I don't have yet a problem with any of the comments, if you wish to submit those. But
So, based on my reads of our permits and so on, these were things that both the capital group, GFI, and planning board had talked about as being problems, so I didn't just pick them out of the air.
I didn't think
went
you
through
did.
that, yeah.
Did the planning board meet and talk about this?
No, I did send it to them though and ask for comments, and I got
Did you get
some.
any comments from them?
No, I did not. Frank said he would like this, he said he would take it under advisement and give it to the board, but it would be a while. And what time, so. He was
well, I mean, at
interested.
this point, did you tell them that you needed by a certain date? Because then
I did.
So is it? It's time to
It's
advise.
a lot like
Running
now.
out.
I got appointed, 2 times ago. I looked at this, read this, we talked about it last time, and we'll get you stuff. So anyway, this is my attempt to educate you by a thumbnail as much as things that I thought. So that's it. That's it. Ideally, in my real life, if it were me, I would look at some of the feeder roads too, but I
Yeah.
don't want to get greedy.
I don't think, I mean, Alex, you really haven't had a lot of time, right? I mean, you just jumped into this. I'm just hesitant to kind of piecemealing something together now. Not that you haven't put the time in.
We don't have to expand it, we just won't be eligible for what I was explaining, that's all.
It feels like an unfortunate sequence of timing events, and that's just where we are.
Yeah, I mean, they met with Kate and Jasmine, it was quick, and that was back in May, I think, right? Or I think they initially in March.
As a result of that, yes.
Based on the emails I got, it was, I think it was.
Yep, and yeah, and like I said, the comments we had were to run it
Yep,
down 70 to the 117 exchange
And then take it.
and then take it over to 110.
right. which
They
I
were
would
already
reiterate.
doing the right into Leominster. That was already part of it. Although it's not seen
not
on
seen on
this,
the
there must be another.
There's not, well, put it this way, either that or things like this they do, we all do, they get missed. Because even at first, Lancaster wasn't even included, and now it is.
Lancaster wasn't included initially until we asked.
Right, and I think it's a great ask. I personally think it's a great opportunity for studies and traffic counts that are not going to directly impact our budget. That's why I suggested those roads. So I can reserve comment. It depends on what the board wants, if you want to take that.
I mean, so my preference would be that we ask to be able to submit comment after our September 5th meeting, and then you write up what your suggested comment that we are going to endorse.
I did
would
ask
be.
that initially, and they said no.
All right,
But-
so let me finish what I was, so then that we get a chance to review it in writing. Residents get to see it in the packet, and then we can make a determination September 5th. If they choose to take the information, they choose to take it. If they don't, they don't.
I would suggest,
I just don't think us standing in a room and pointing at a map is a good way of us determining public comment.
well, if the timing is regrettable, but I
It is.
would suggest as, that we would,
Because I also would love to hear, sorry, I'd love to hear the planning board's thoughts as well.
so sitting in my shoes, I would rather submit them, so we do so in a time, they extended the time for Lancaster, so we don't lose the opportunity for the grant dollars and the studies, should they not accept our proposal. And then if we choose to remain as it is, then we retract. But,
Okay. I fear we are, unless Mr. Allison has a different opinion, I fear we are at an impasse on that. I would hope that we could write up the recommended comments so that we can take a look and that they can be available for the public to see. See what the planning board may have relative to comments, and then submit them comprehensively after our September 5th meeting. And if the group doesn't take them, they don't take them.
okay, again, they said they weren't going to, they said we'll extend till today for you. So,
When did they say that?
after our last meeting, when I asked, we had the same similar conversation.
Okay. All right. Anything else on that? Anything else?
No, thank,
Any-
oh, yes, I
any other
had
new business?
one more item of new business.
Okay.
On the 23rd, I think,
The 23rd of what?
August,
Okay.
one of somebody with close Lancaster ties, Lavender D'Arcangelo, is going to be competing on America's Got Talent. She's the daughter of Will D'Arcangelo, the minister
yeah.
at the First Church. And I have a bias, but I think she's incredibly talented, and I think Lancaster, I understand the steeple is lit lavender, in case anybody is wondering why. And I think just as as a member of the select board, just wishing her good luck. If you haven't seen her initial episode on social media or
I
out
haven't.
there,
What is her talent? Singing?
she sings, she's got...
Amazing artist.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and she's inspirational, she's...
Fantastic. Well, we wish her all the best, and we hope that I don't know what you get for winning America's Got Talent, but we hope she brings all that back to our region.
You have to watch it, it's really inspirational.
Will do.
Have you seen it, Kate?
Yeah.
Oh, will do. Fantastic. All right. Hearing no more new business, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Oh.
Aye?
You can sign it after.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Fantastic. Our meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everybody.